I'm a single mom. I'm a single mom.
Single dad's first date was going so well, until she said, "You can leave. I'm a single mom." The candle flickered softly on the marble tabletop, casting a warm glow over the half-empty glasses of epic final 8K family group shot at Park Picnic years later. Mark and Elena in center, arms around each other, kids playing nearby. Golden hour sunlight, ultimate blended family happiness. Identical faces from start, photorealistic masterpiece, 16:9 aspect ratio. Mark Thompson leaned forward, his chin resting on his hand, eyes locked on the woman across from him. Elena Ramirez. She was stunning in her red dress, the kind that hugged her curves just right without trying too hard. Her laughter was like music, light, genuine, the sort that made the bustling restaurant fade into the background. It had been years since Mark felt this alive on a date. Hell, it had been years since he'd been on a date at all. "You know," Elena said, twirling her fork around a bite of pasta, "I haven't laughed this much in forever. Tell me more about that time you tried to build a treehouse for your kid and ended up with a lopsided shack." Mark chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Oh man, it was a disaster. I thought I was Bob the Builder, but apparently I'm more like Bob the Amateur. My son, Jake, still calls it the Leaning Tower of Fun. We spent the whole summer fixing it, but honestly, those were some of the best days." Elena's eyes sparkled under the dim lights. "Sounds adorable. Kids have a way of turning messes into memories, don't they?" Mark nodded, his heart swelling a bit. Jake was his world, 7 years old, full of energy, and the reason Mark had sworn off dating after his divorce 3 years ago. But tonight something felt different. Elena was easy to talk to, smart, funny. They'd matched on that app a week ago, exchanged messages that flowed like old friends catching up. No red flags, no awkward silences. Until now, as she set her fork down and her expression shifted, subtle, but Mark caught it, a flicker of hesitation. "Mark," she started, her voice softening. She glanced around the restaurant, as if checking for eavesdroppers, then met his gaze. "This has been great, really, but there's something I need to tell you." She paused, taking a sip of wine. "You can leave if you want. I'm a single mom." The words hung in the air like a punchline to a joke Mark didn't get. He blinked, processing. Leave? Why would he? Then it hit him. She thought he'd bolt, like so many guys probably had before, but Mark? He was a single dad himself. If anything, this made her even more intriguing. But let's rewind, because this story doesn't start at the restaurant. It starts in the chaos of Mark's everyday life, where first dates were as rare as a quiet morning. Mark Thompson was 35, a graphic designer for a mid-sized ad firm in Chicago. He lived in a cozy 2-bedroom apartment in Wrigleyville, surrounded by the constant hum of Cubs fans and the occasional roar of the L train. His ex-wife Sarah had left when Jake was 4, chasing a job in New York that promised more excitement than suburban family life. Mark didn't fight it much. Their marriage had been crumbling under the weight of mismatched dreams. He got full custody. Sarah visited sporadically, sending gifts that Jake adored but never quite filling the void. Mornings were a whirlwind, packing lunches, wrestling Jake into his school uniform, dropping him off at Lincoln Elementary before rushing to the office. Afternoons meant soccer practice or homework battles. Evenings were dinner, usually something quick like mac and cheese with hidden veggies, bedtime stories, and collapsing on the couch with a beer and Netflix. Dating? It was a distant memory. Mark's friends, mostly married couples from work, had tried setting him up, but blind dates felt like job interviews with bad lighting. Then came the app. "Try it," his buddy Tom had said over beers one night. "Worst case, you delete it." So Mark did. Profile pic, him and Jake at a Cubs game, cropped to just his face. Bio, single dad navigating life one dad joke at a time, looking for someone who doesn't mind dinosaur facts at dinner. Elena popped up in his matches 3 days later. Her profile, a photo of her hiking in the mountains, wind-tousled hair, a bio that read, "Adventure seeker, coffee addict, believer in second chances." They messaged about favorite spots in the city. Hers was the Art Institute, his the lakefront path. No mention of kids on either side. Mark figured it would come up naturally. The date was set for Friday at Bella Vista, an Italian spot downtown with great reviews and a view of the river. Mark arranged a sitter, his sister, who teased him mercilessly about getting back out there. He dressed nice, light blue shirt, jeans, a watch that had been his dad's. Nervous? Absolutely. But excited, too. Elena arrived first, waving him over with a smile that lit up the room. She was even prettier in person. Blonde waves framing her face, green eyes that crinkled when she laughed. They ordered appetizers, bruschetta, and calamari. Conversation flowed effortlessly. She was 32, a marketing coordinator for a nonprofit, loved hiking, hated rom-coms but adored thrillers. Mark shared about his design work, how he once created a campaign for a cereal brand that went viral. As the mains arrived, pasta for her, steak for him, the talk deepened. "What about you?" she asked. "Any big life stories?" Mark hesitated, then dove in. "Yeah, actually. I'm a dad. Jake's 7. Best kid ever, but he keeps me on my toes." Elena's eyes widened slightly, but she smiled. "That's awesome. Kids are the best. What's he like?" "Curious, energetic, obsessed with dinosaurs. Last week he convinced me to turn our living room into a Jurassic Park replica." Mark laughed, pulling out his phone to show a photo. Jake in a T-Rex costume, roaring at the camera. Elena leaned in, cooing over the picture. "He's adorable. Look at that grin." The night progressed perfectly. They shared dessert, a tiramisu that melted in their mouths. Mark felt a spark, something real. But as coffee arrived, Elena's demeanor changed. She fiddled with her napkin, took a deep breath. "And that's when she said it. You can leave. I'm a single mom." Mark stared, fork paused midair. The arrow of realization hit him. Wait. The image in his mind flashed like a meme, him looking dejected, her pointing it out. But no, that wasn't him. He set the fork down, a slow smile spreading. "Leave? Why would I do that?" Elena blinked, caught off guard. "Well, a lot of guys do. They hear single mom, and suddenly remember they have an early meeting or a sick cat. It's like a deal breaker." Mark shook his head. "Not for me. Elena, I'm a single dad. Jake's my everything. If anything, this makes you more relatable." Her shoulders relaxed, a relieved laugh escaping. "Wait, really? You didn't mention it in your profile." "Neither did you," he teased. "Guess we both figured it'd come up." They talked more then, barriers down. Elena's daughter Mia was 5. Her ex had bailed when Mia was a baby, leaving Elena to juggle work, daycare, and the endless guilt of not being enough. "It's hard," she admitted. "Dating feels like a minefield. Guys either want the fun mom fantasy or run when reality hits." Mark nodded empathetically. "I get it. After my divorce, I focused on Jake. Dating seemed selfish, but tonight, this feels right." The check came, but neither wanted the night to end. "Walk along the river?" Mark suggested. "Sure," Elena said, her hand brushing his as they stood. The Chicago River glittered under the city lights, boats drifting lazily. They strolled, sharing stories of parenting wins and fails. Mark told about the time Jake's school project, a volcano, erupted in the car, covering everything in baking soda lava. Elena laughed until tears formed, recounting Mia's insistence on wearing a princess dress to grocery shopping, complete with tiara. As they reached a bench, they sat, the air crisp with autumn chill. Mark felt bold. "Elena, I like you. A lot, single parent or not." She turned to him, eyes soft. "I like you too, Mark." Their first kiss was tentative, sweet, like the start of something promising. But life, as single parents know, isn't a rom-com. Challenges loomed. The next morning, Mark woke to Jake bouncing on his bed. "Dad, pancakes." Grinning, Mark obliged, flipping flapjacks while replaying the date. He texted Elena, "Last night was amazing. Coffee soon?" Her reply, "Absolutely." "Mia's with her grandma this weekend. Free Saturday?" They met at a cafe near the park, casual this time. Jeans, sweaters, lattes in hand. Conversation picked up where it left off, but now with kid anecdotes woven in. "Mia loves art," Elena said. "We paint every weekend." Jake's into building things. Maybe a playdate sometime? Elena hesitated. That sounds great, but slow. I don't introduce guys to Mia lightly. Mark understood. Of course. No rush. Weeks turned into dates, movies, picnics, a Cubs game where Mark explained the rules to Elena, who pretended to care but really enjoyed the hot dogs. Chemistry built, stolen kisses, late-night texts. But cracks appeared. One evening after a date, Mark's sitter called. Jake had a fever. He rushed home, guilt-gnawing. Elena texted, "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just dad duty." Her response, "I know the drill. Rain check?" But rescheduling became a game of Tetris. Elena's work trip coincided with Jake's school play. Mark's deadline overlapped Mia's dance recital. Frustration simmered. Then came the fight. It started small, over a canceled dinner. Elena snapped, "You always put work first." Mark fired back, "Like you don't? Mia's recital was last minute." Words escalated, old wounds reopening. "Maybe this is too hard," Elena said, tears welling. "Two single parents, it's a recipe for disaster." Mark's heart sank. "Don't say that." But she left, the door clicking shut like a period. Days passed in silence. Mark threw himself into Jake, soccer games, homework. But he missed Elena. Jake noticed. "Dad, why are you sad?" "Just grown-up stuff, buddy." Elena, meanwhile, wrestled doubts. Mia asked, "Where's the funny man from the stories?" "He's busy, sweetie." A week later, Mark's phone buzzed. "Elena, can we talk?" They met at the same river bench. Elena looked tired but determined. "I overreacted. Being single parents means chaos, but I don't want to do it without you." Mark took her hand. "Me neither. Let's figure it out together." They did, slowly. Blended schedules, babysitter swaps. First play date, Jake and Mia at the park. Instant friends over swings and ice cream. Months flew. Holidays came. Thanksgiving with both families, awkward at first but warming. Christmas, gifts under the tree, kids' laughter echoing. 1 year from that first date, Mark planned a surprise. Back at Bella Vista, same table, candle flickering. "Elena," he said, kneeling, "you and Mia. You're my family now. Marry me?" Tears streamed as she nodded. "Yes." The wedding was small, park ceremony, kids as ring bearers. Vows promised patience amid chaos. Years later, looking back, Mark often thought of that first date, the moment she said, "You can leave," how it could have ended there. But instead it began everything. Their family grew, another child, a boy named Alex. Blended, beautiful. Challenges persisted, tantrums, teens, life. But love anchored them. And so, in the end, what started as a potential deal breaker became their greatest strength.